Hi guys, welcome to the new episode of our podcast. I don't believe in ghosts, but we're here tonight at Havelock Towers in Sunderland. For those guys who haven't listened to us before, I'm Steve Watson. I've been hunting ghosts or paranormal investigations for well over 20 years now. I founded Ghost Northeast 15 years ago and take the public around these lovely locations looking for spooks. Also wrote a few books. Newest one is Ghost Stories in Northumberland. That's out now. It's available on our website at ghostnortheast.com/shop. And with me tonight, I have.
Hi, I'm Scott. I've been hunting with Ghost Northeast for almost 7 years now.
Yes.
7 long, tiring years.
Yes. Which been a while because I've been ill and you've been on holiday and all the rest of it. So we'll talk about the last few weeks because we've been to the Air Museum, we've been to Lytton Phil, we've been to Broomley Grange, Jedburgh Jail. So we've been around the northeast and the borders quite a bit. Well, last year went to the lakes for a night as well.
Yes, we did. That was good fun.
So we've been out and about. Has anything been a standout for you last few?
A lot of firsts this season, hasn't there? There's been a lot of things that have happened for the first time.
Yeah.
Some absolutely fantastic nights. It'll depend how much you want to go into those, really. Not to give too many spoilers away, because we are going to be going back to one of those locations.
I think you've got to mention Broomley Grange.
We have got to, haven't we? Yes.
The infrared camera. For you who are going to watch it on YouTube, we'll put the photographs up for you to see them. When Scott originally showed us the photos, I've got to say I was a bit blown away, to be honest with you. So for those who can't see the video, we've got a photograph on the infrared.
That's right, yeah.
Camera, the heat-seeking camera we call it, and it's a lady standing in the corridor, and that picture on the infrared is what you would expect. You know, darker at the head, the body's, you can see the body quite easily through the heat. But then
it's a difficult one to call, because to give you a bit of context around what it looks like, just imagine a really long corridor, a little bit like a hotel, really, with bedrooms off the side of it. And like Steve said, one of our guests was at the end of the corridor with the heat seek pointing at her. And there's two residual heats either side of her. And naturally, your instinct is to try and debunk things straight away and think, what's the rational explanation behind this? Why have we put a guest in quite a narrow corridor and there are two heat signatures either side? And straight away I'm thinking, well, that's obvious. It's bouncing off the walls. You know, it's the heat, it's the body heat reflecting off the walls. And that would make sense, you would think. And I was quite content with that. I thought, this is great. I've got a rational explanation for this. No need to panic. And I thought, I'm just going to test this theory, just to absolutely convince myself that I'm right here. So one of the pieces of equipment that we have in our case is a digital thermometer. So we use the digital thermometer to check the heat signatures on the walls and on the guest. So as you can imagine, everything was fine with the guest, perfectly normal temperature. But where the heat signatures were appearing on the screen, where we could see them, they were exactly the same reading on the digital thermometer as where it was showing up to be the coldest in the room. So one piece of equipment was showing real fluctuations in temperature, and another piece of equipment was saying, no, this is absolutely exactly the same, and it's completely normal. So two totally contrasting readings from pieces of equipment that are meant to tell us the same bits of information, and I can't explain that.
I mean, I went down and had a look myself, because I was thinking, is there pipes? Is there hot water pipes in the walls? I've done check. There's nothing there. There's literally two walls either side of this lady. But when you look at it, the images on the walls, so they're between where the guest, the lady is. I think that was me. And the wall, so it's between. So if it was reflecting off the wall, that signature would be on the wall. But it's not, it's offside. And if you look at the one on, as we look at the screen on the right hand side, the bigger one, the top part of, I want to say if you look at it as a figure, the top part, the head, is hotter than the lower part, which is normal in a human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how's this? You know, it's a reflection giving you that sort of fluctuation. And then the one on the left hand is a different shape. It's like a smaller shape. I mean, I wasn't there when you took the photos. Did the lady see anything? Was she feel anything at the time? Or did she?
It's one of those. I think at the time we had things going on. There was activity all night, so it was really impressive that we were getting lots of these things happening. But there was nothing that we had in terms of activity that we could link to say, oh, this is definitely a story that we can unpick. So we didn't have stories of, you know, twins or two people following a particular guest. And it's more what came afterwards. You know, when you leave a hunt and you start running back through the night in your head and you try to put all the pieces together and you try and explain rationally about what's gone on. So it's very difficult to say afterwards once everything's happened. But in the moment, it was one of those things where we thought, oh, something's not quite right here. And we've never had it before, have we? And the heat seeker is one of the relatively new experiments that we've been trying, but we have tried it in a significant number of locations and we've never had that happen before.
The thought is as well, the thought process is, we tried that with every group and the heat seeker stayed in the same place. So why does it not come up every time? So you got a couple of groups before you or after you, and we've done the same experiment, but that's the only photograph that came out. If it was reflection, natural reflection, say of the heat, then Charlie would have shown up every single time.
That's right, you would expect that.
But every other group showed just as what you would expect to see, a human in the middle and cold all around. That's the only time it's been different. So because of that, I really don't have an explanation. If it appeared 2 or 3 times as the day went on, I would have said maybe I will reflecting something, or is there something behind the walls we can't see? But the fact that we've done that experiment, it was 5, 6 times during the night. That's the only time it came out. Quite unusual. I've got no explanation for it.
But I'll be definitely trying that again when we go back, for sure. And I almost don't want it to happen the next time we go. So that's even more curious, isn't it? Because then you're really having to think about, well, what was it specifically about that night? Was it that person? Was it something that was around that person? Or did we just hit lucky with the activity on that night?
Quite quickly with that piece of equipment, it's no good around glass or mirrors because it reflects the heat, so you get that back. So, you know, it's not like where that we didn't know what to look for. We went through everything. Like, there was no glass to reflect, there was no mirrors there. I haven't got an answer. And as you see, when you took a thermal reading of their walls, they're the same heat as the corner.
As everywhere else in the whole of the corridor.
No, I mean, I would say from the first 3 or 4 weeks of this season, that's definitely been my highlight.
Yes, it has. Stuck with us.
I haven't got a clue.
And that's what you want, isn't it? That's the sort of stuff where, and those of you who are watching or listening at home who've been on a few hunts, when you start to do a few more, the stuff that you're left with that you're talking about for days or weeks and you're trying to unpick and understand, that's the sort of stuff that you want to happen because that's what keeps it interesting.
It keeps it going back, doesn't it? Because now you just want to go back and do that experiment again, just to see if it, you know, is it some total? That's what I mean. There might be somebody listening now go, oh, I know what you're talking about. This causes that. It answers the question. Just at the moment, I don't have an answer at all. I can't work it out. And as I say, we've tried all the sort of debunking, as we always do, we try and prove it's not real. And 99%, or almost 99% of what goes on is real.
You've got an explanation, yeah.
But was that 1%, and that's one of them 1% where you just go, I ain't got a clue. I haven't got an explanation at the moment. It was good. It was good. The whole night was turned out.
Oh, it was a cracking night.
It was to be a good night, to be fair. There was some strange old noises.
We had a really interesting session. It was our first location, and the guests that we were with will vouch for this. One of the most fantastic Ouija boards I've ever seen, with so much information, not threatening, You know, and I sometimes think there is a bit of a stigma around Ouija boards that you're going to summon dark spirits. And, you know, in my experience, what we had that night was far from that. But it was very intense and it left a lot of people shaken. And then we went into the second half of the location and it changed like that. Completely different room. We had people in hysterics, laughter, jovial, you know, just a complete change in activity. So again, it'll be interesting when we go back to see if that sort of stuff happens again. But that was, for me, from where we're now, middle of October. When this goes out, it'll be interesting to see if any other of those things have happened again. But a very, very strong start to the season there.
I think the disappointment we've had is a museum because of the rain. We had torrential rain and we couldn't make out the noises when it was the rain, it was the storm. And I love the air museum, I absolutely love the air museum. But it had me at times because the rain was so bad. If anybody was lucky enough to watch our live link, you would have heard the rain. It was pouring, wasn't it? It was torrential. Really,
really bad. And if you've not been before, it's a museum. It's an open air museum, isn't it? But they've got big hangars and they're just tin roofs, aren't they?
What was I think it's you, Edward Debs, who was convinced that it's in legs. And there was nobody there. I know there was nobody there because I was outside with Keith, the caretaker. We were standing outside. We looked over at where it's where that hangar. There was nobody about because we were looking straight at it. So it's still bits and bobs, but I think it's been enjoyable first.
What I particularly liked about Neem as well, when I was talking about like a season of firsts, because of the weather, we had to change completely the way that we ran that night, and we had to make it really about the visual prompts. So, you know, some of the equipment that we use, we've got the Frank's box, we've got a portal where it's heavily reliant on that. Well, we couldn't hear the guests and team 2 meters away from each other. We couldn't hear, and we were really challenged to think about like how can we get activity in a completely visual way. So that was really interesting to change that. We did, yes.
So guys, that's what we've been up to the last 3 days, last few weeks. What we're going to do is I'm going to play a quick video and talk about Havelock Towers because that's where we are. Right guys, we've got a bit of a treat on this podcast because we're here at Havelock, and I was talking about it earlier on, and we've got Vince. Vince is the keeper of the Kings.
Yes.
He's agreed to come and give her 5 or 10 minutes about this fantastic building and his experiences. So without further ado, just tell a bit about the background and how we started coming here.
Absolutely. So the building, it's a building in 2 parts. The original part was built in 1884, and it's had a lot of misery over the time. It's been a workhouse and orphanage. It's been a home for abandoned children, home for pregnant teens. It's been a military hospital and infectious diseases hospital. And then in 1965, they built a new part, and it became Bedford Millville Community Centre. Which is a community hub for people of all ages, all ethnicities, and it's great. But obviously, that history of the building has implanted itself and kind of still echoes even now.
I mean, you come into it's strange. You come into the old building, and it's just an atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely. The second you walk in, the first thing I do if ever I'm showing any groups around is take a moment just to feel what it's like at the main entrance, and then you step into the old building, and it's oppressive, it's miserable, it's cold, it's dark, and I mean, I've had grown adults burst into tears just stepping in. It's strange the way it affects you.
I remember the first time we came, we went upstairs in the attic.
Yes.
And it's just not nice. No. That's the best way I can put it. It's just not nice.
So what we believe was when it was the orphanage and workhouse, that's where the mentally ill children were kept. So they'd have literally been locked in their rooms 24/7. When it was the home for pregnant teens, that's where if they didn't want to have the baby, that's where those procedures were performed illegally. I'm trying to word it carefully. So
Yes.
but yeah, illegal at the time.
Yes.
Procedures to make sure they didn't have the baby.
Yes.
In that attic room. So it's a lot of sadness, a lot of pain, a lot of death as well.
Yeah. I mean, you do your live links now. I think on the other Sunday night on TikTok. Or?
At least once every 3 Sundays, sometimes every 2 on TikTok. So Havelock Towers Hauntings, give us a follow. And we do 7:30 till 10ish, which is nice. It's a nice block of time to tune in and watch, and we get something different every time, but we also get the same spirits coming through as well.
What's since you've been, well, even before you started doing it, what's the scariest?
So sometimes the attic can be really sinister.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Sometimes you don't want to be in there for any length of time at all. Yeah. Other times you just can't stop laughing up there.
Yeah.
But my least favourite room has to be the girls' changing room.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just something about it. I don't know what it is. Yeah. I always feel closed in there, even though the windows are exactly the same size in the two, so they should be just as bright as each other.
Yeah.
But it feels darker. It feels horrible in there, like unpleasant. Sometimes I feel like I'm standing on the deck of a ship swaying.
Yeah.
And I can't be because it's a solid iron building. Do you know what I mean?
I felt like on the stage, doing the call out. Just a couple of times I felt like I'd lost my balance. You know what I mean? That swing. I think it's a couple of times we've reported it when we've been here. So the room just doesn't. The room is don't.
What I believe that is there's a spirit who was found hung in the girls' changing rooms.
All right.
And he wasn't a particularly nice person in life, and he makes people kind of experience that swaying that he had.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
So he was found stinking of alcohol, and initially we thought he'd hung himself, but we've had, as more and more evidence is becoming uncovered, we believe actually he was hung with a hook through his mouth.
Oh.
So that's not something you do yourself.
Oh, it's not so that's brutal.
Yeah.
That's brutal. So this is it. I mean, John Vince on his live broadcast, they are quite interesting. And they just say it's just because you tend to get different but the same, if that makes sense. I know that sounds totally stupid, but it's the same as when we've come. Because I was saying to Scott earlier, we were talking, I was saying it's weird because we've come 3 or 4 times now. Yeah. It's the same atmosphere and the same activity, but seems to be different people.
Yeah. I mean, with the history of the place, it would have been very much a lot of different people.
Yeah. A lot of souls going through, isn't it?
Especially when it was the infectious diseases hospital, when back then people were passing away that quickly.
Yeah.
They couldn't keep up with the records. They couldn't even keep up with coffins. They were just put in wooden boxes and stacked in the morgue.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of people have came through here and sadly not made it out.
Yeah. So do you think it's quite comprehensive what you've done, or have you just really scratched the surface over the past 12, 18 months?
I don't think we'll ever fully uncover everything. I think it's one of those, the more we investigate, the more we'll uncover, and the more things keep on happening that we can't explain. Like in the attic, I don't know if you noticed the names that have been raised in the plaster.
Yes, yeah.
One of those names literally appeared in front of us on a live.
Yeah.
And it was the name of one of the people who was with me at the time.
Oh.
So she was a bit freaked out, as you can imagine.
I can imagine.
So but like we were literally there.
Yeah.
And the name appeared letter by letter in front of us.
So thank you for giving this interview. It's always nice. I was saying, because we do it, it's local, we love doing it. We'll probably do a part 2 soon.
Yeah.
So we'll get you on again if you don't mind.
Absolutely, always happy to come on and help
tell the stories.
Yeah.
As I say, join them.
Havelock Towers Hauntings.
And that's Facebook, TikTok.
Facebook and TikTok,
Yeah. get yourself on there, give them a like, give them a follow. Go keep together as a team, don't we?
Absolutely.
And,
Share the community and keep it going.
Yeah, definitely. So get on there, get liked, get it followed. Thank you, Vince. Thank you very much. So welcome back. That's a little bit of a story about Havelock Towers, where we are. We've only been doing this while we're here now, haven't we? It's relatively new to us. But I tell you what, it delivers some really, really strange atmospheres. I think we've got noises, we've got movement. For me, it's an atmosphere. And when we were setting up earlier on, we went upstairs, and I said upstairs, we're both saying we're here in this corridor. The corridor I showed on the video, it's a long, dark corridor. So it is creepy anyway.
Yeah.
But we do plenty of them wherever we go when we're setting up to long, dark corridors and stairs. But I said to you, did I said, oh, it just feels like you're being watched, but uncomfortably watched. Like someone's sussing you out. I'm the same when I go, it's really strange, the kitchen's very light. I'll make the coffees and teas and break, and I'm always by myself. But the amount of times I turn around, I think someone's behind us.
Oh, really?
Or someone's walked past the. So like if I'm looking towards the hall, say, the amount of times I sort of catches the corner of my eye, because I think someone's walked across the landing, past the stairs, and there's nothing there. Or if I've got my back, and I'm at the sink, I've got my back to the stairs. The amount of times I turn around, because I'm expecting one of you who stood there, who come back, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But there's nobody there. But that doesn't feel bad. I don't feel scared.
So to be upstairs.
But that corridor creeps the bloody living daylights out of us. It really does.
To pick up on some of the things that you're saying, I always wonder about what is it? What is that feeling? Yeah. When you're doing a hunt, or it might not even be a ghost hunt that you're on, but you get that feeling that someone's behind you or on your shoulder. What is that? And why does that get so heightened when you're on a ghost hunt? Why is it when you walk into a room, you can feel an atmosphere? Yeah. Why does that happen? And how do you really harness that? And how do you change it into activity?
It's how you describe it to other people as well. Because there's I can't describe it. It's just a feeling. The atmosphere changes, and then all of a sudden there's all this trouble and commotion. But seconds, like minutes before, seconds before, you feel the atmosphere change, and all of a sudden that's the only thing I can think of.
That's a fair comparison.
That sort of change where the heckles go up, but you don't know why. But then, bang, something happens. That's what it feels like walking out. You're like, I just feel like something's going to happen, but nothing does. You know what I mean? It's weird.
I think this is maybe the third or fourth time that I've been to this location now, and you do get that feeling of an energy shift every time. We've just finished one location with the team, and we were doing the Ouija board, and we had some really quite dark messages coming through the Ouija board, and not very nice spirits. But we also had a lot of the scientific tools going off at the same time as well. We had the K2s going ballistic, and there were about 3 or 4 dotted across the room. And what was interesting was that atmosphere shift happened there as well. The Ouija board stopped, but then so did all the electronic equipment as well. And there was a few of us that actually reported, you can feel this. But I'm so interested in how can you feel it, and what do you actually feel? People at home who've been on ghost hunts, how do you describe that feeling? How can you feel a shift and a change in energy?
I just always see heckles go. I don't know if that's a good description, but that's about the best. And then the house was sitting in the house at the moment. Up in the attic is probably the best knocking response I've ever known. That was when we very first came.
Yeah.
And it was lit to response. I mean, I'm not once, and it was in seconds, not twice, within seconds, reply to you back. That went over about 5 minutes.
That was sustained as well, wasn't it? Yeah, so, it was over. It was
about a good 5 minutes.
And 5 minutes doesn't sound like a long time, does it? Yeah. But when you're terrified in a corridor.
Well, it's just the guys I told you, switch your light off and knock on the wall for 5 minutes. And then you realise how much you must have got. And I was I scared? I don't know. I was just more fascinated.
Oh, I was terrified.
When you think,
Of course I was terrified.
I was more fascinated because like, your brain's well and you're thinking, what's going
Yeah.
on? And you try to think, maybe it's the horse scared, that's why you're trying to think of something. Oh, yeah, is it a mouse? Is it the old pipes? Is it the wind? You know what I mean? You try to explain because once you get to the end of that list, you're going to go, what is it?
And there's
Because,
always something that it could be, isn't there? There's always, and it doesn't matter how far you want to stretch reality, you can always say, well, it could be something in the walls, something scurrying in the floor.
I don't think I'll go there by myself. I think I've been
No,
up
I
there
don't
once
think I would.
by myself to set up some equipment. I think I'll land back downstairs.
Yeah, it's not. I think, and I don't know if it's just because it's upstairs, but it's got a similar sort of feel to Bensham Grove.
Yeah.
When you go up into the attic of Bensham Grove.
Like you're trapped.
Well, I think this is the thing about when we were talking earlier about long dark corridors, isn't it? Because your mind's telling you if you go down that dark corridor and something happens, you've got to come back this way. And I think that's what started for me anyway. Certainly, that's what gets me thinking. Oh, geez, if something does happen, yeah, I've got to pass back through this horrible place.
Well, that's Havelock in a nutshell. As I say, we haven't been doing it long enough to do a massive research on it. But considering we've been 3 or 4 times, it's still had some cracking bits and
It's got some
bobs
good
that
stuff
comes.
to it.
And no, we'll probably return to this next year or something in the podcast, and we'll give you an update on what's gone on. So thank you for listening, guys. I hope that was informative, and I hope you enjoyed it. What I always say to everybody in the podcast world, please like, subscribe, share, hit the rating button, anything. Just let everybody know about it, because the more likes we get, the better it is for us, and the more content. And I'm hoping next time we do it, I won't have such a croaky voice, because the last one I had pulled as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. You can drop us a line at any time if you've got any ideas for programs you want to appear on the podcast. Just email us at ghostpodcast@hotmail.com. And until next time, don't have nightmares. Good
Bye.
night.